There is a particular kind of confidence a woman has when she's about to get married. It is not loud, it is not proud, it is quiet, sweet, and dangerously hopeful. Chiamaka had that confidence. She was 27, glowing in the way women glow when they believe life is finally aligned with their prayers. Her friend said she was lucky. Her auntie said she was favored. Her mother said, "At least you will rest now." And Chiamaka believed all of them. She believed marriage was the soft landing after years of struggle. She believed it was the reward for patience. She believed it was the place where love lived full time, paid rent, and never traveled. Meanwhile, nobody corrected her. Chiamaka grew up in a semi-urban town where everyone knows everyone and news travel faster than electricity. In that town, marriage was spoken of like a destination. You endured school, endured bad bosses, endured heartbreak, and then finally you arrive at marriage. Once you arrive, happiness was supposed to begin. Chiamaka had watched movies where husbands noticed everything. She had read devotionals that spoke about intentional love. She had listened to wedding sermons that made marriage sound like a permanent romantic retreat sponsored by God Himself. So yes, she had expectations, plenty of them. She expected her husband to notice her. She expected affection without asking. She expected love conversation after work, even when the food was late. She expected random "I miss you" messages. She expected teamwork, but mostly in the emotional department. She did not think she was asking for too much. After all, love was love, wasn't it? Her husband's name was Kunle. Kunle was not a bad man. He was calm, responsible, and respected in the community. He worked hard, spoke less, and believed strongly in planning. People describe him as a serious man, which sounded good enough. However, seriousness has different meaning depending on who is describing it. During their courtship, Kunle called regularly. He asked questions. He listened. He showed up. He wasn't overly romantic, but Chiamaka convinced herself that maturity was better than drama. Besides, everyone said romance fades, but character lasts. She repeated that sentence like a prayer. The wedding was beautiful in the way Nigerian weddings always are. Colorful, loud, slightly chaotic, and full of advice nobody asks for. "You must be patient," someone said. "Don't talk back. Men are like babies. Don't go to bed angry. Marriage is not love, it is endurance." Chiamaka smiled and nodded, even though she didn't fully agree. She believed love and endurance could coexist peacefully. That night, as she sat beside Kunle on their new bed, surrounded by suitcases and wedding gifts they hadn't opened, she felt safe. This is it, she thought. This is the beginning. Meanwhile, Kunle was already calculating expenses in his head. The first few weeks were calm. Kunle went to work early. Chiamaka immediately adjusted to waking up earlier than she had ever had in her life. Cooking became a daily activity, not a weekend experiment. She laughed about it at first. Marriage, she told herself, was about adjustment. But small things began to whisper before big things ever shouted. Kunle rarely asked her how her day went. Not because he didn't care, but he assumed if something was important, she would mention, right? Chiamaka, on the other hand, believed love involved curiosity. Sometimes she would dress up and wait for him to notice. Sometimes he didn't. Sometimes he did, but said it casually, like he was commenting on the weather. "Your dress is fine," he would say. "Fine?" That word started to irritate her in ways she could not explain. Meanwhile, Kunle expressed love differently. He paid bills early. He ensured food never finished, and when something broke, he fixed it or found someone who could. He loved through action, not affection. Chiamaka loved through words, touch, and attention. They were both loving, They were just speaking different languages without knowing it. One evening, Chiamaka tried to explain. I feel like we don't talk anymore, she said gently. Kunle looked confused. We talk now, he replied. She wanted to scream, this is not the talking I meant, but instead she nodded. That was the beginning of her quiet disappointment. Not that kind that breaks you immediately, not that type that settles in your chest and sighs. She expected marriage to feel warm all the time. Instead, it felt stable, safe, and practical. And she didn't know how to complain something that wasn't technically wrong. One afternoon, two of her friends visited. One of them said, at least he doesn't beat you. The other said, it's better he's serious than to be useless. And Chiamaka felt guilty for wanting noise. However, guilt doesn't erase feelings. It only teaches them to hide better. She found herself remembering her expectations with embarrassment. She had thought love would be obvious. She had thought effort would be visible. She had thought marriage would constantly reassure her. Instead, it challenged her patience. Although Kunle thought everything was fine, in his mind, he was doing exactly what a husband should do. He provided. He was faithful. He came home early. He didn't gamble. He didn't drink excessively. He planned for the future. But he didn't understand that Chiamaka wanted presence, not just provision. One Saturday morning, Chiamaka woke up feeling heavy. She watched Kunle polish his shoes carefully, even though it was a weekend. Are you going to work? She asked. No, I just like to be prepared, he replied. Prepared? That word followed her the entire day. She realized something uncomfortable then. Marriage was not teaching her how to be loved the way she imagined. It was teaching her how to understand love differently. And she was not ready for that lesson yet. That night, as they ate in silence, she wondered if she had married wrong or simply expected too much, but deep inside, something else was forming. Not resentment, not regret, but awareness. Chiamaka's first month of marriage had been educational. Some days felt like a lesson in patience. Some days felt like an adventure she hadn't signed up for. And some days, most days, were just quietly confusing. Her mother called every morning to ask if she had eaten, whether Kunle was treating her well, and if she had started bonding with her in-laws. But her friends were like satellites around her life, ready to report every small mishap. Did he tell you he loves you today? Funke asked during their weekly video call. Chiamaka sighed. No, he didn't. Funke gasped. What? Girl, you must remind him. Don't just sit there like an extra in your own life and make him look bad. No, thank you, Chiamaka replied. I think he loves differently. Different? Chiamaka, if different means ignoring you, I'm calling your auntie right now, Funke said, already dialing someone she didn't know. After the call, Chiamaka realized she was learning new language without dictionary. She had imagined romantic dinners and spontaneous gestures. Instead, she had a fridge that has to be restocked weekly, laundries that multiplied faster every day, and man, she wasn't ready for this. Her family expectation was on another level. One day, her auntie Ada called. Hello, Chiamaka, how are you? How is your marriage? This one you're sounding like this. Have you eaten? I hope your husband gave you breakfast in bed. Auntie Na, my marriage is fine and I've eaten. There was no breakfast in bed this morning. My husband went to work early. Hey, that's very bad though. When your uncle was alive, he pampers me like an egg. Chiamaka, don't stay inside water and allow soap to enter your eyes, oh. That's all I have to say. And she ended the call immediately. Chiamaka was left even more confused than she was. One afternoon, Chiamaka cooked jollof rice. She had spent so much time in the kitchen preparing this jollof rice. She asked Kunle for review during lunch. How is the food? Chiamaka said. It's not bad, he said. Did you watch it on YouTube? Chiamaka blinked. YouTube? He nodded. Next time, just try using less oil. Chiamaka laughed nervously, realizing that sometimes practical love feels like criticism, but it's still love. The chaos didn't just start with shouting. It started with a morning that already felt wrong. Kunle was running late for work. His phone kept vibrating on the table while he hurried around the room, searching for his style. Chiamaka watched him from the bed, her chest tight with all the words she had swallowed over the weeks. Kunle, she said softly. I'm listening, he said, though his back was turned. You always say that, she replied, but you are never really listening. He paused, just for a second, then he sighed. Chiamaka, please, not this morning. I have an important meeting. Important? That word again. Something in her snapped, not loudly but completely. When is there ever a good time, she asked, her voice rising. When will I be important enough? Kunle turned to face her, confusion written all over his face. What are you talking about? She stood up now. I'm talking about us. About how you come and go like I'm a furniture. About how you don't ask, you don't notice, you don't talk. Kunle quickly checked his watch. Please, we'll talk later. Later? She laughed a sharp and bitter laugh. There's no later, Kunle. Later never comes. His phone rang. He ignored it. Chiamaka, you are overreacting, he said, trying to stay calm. Everything is fine. That sentence did it. Fine? She walked up to him, her eyes burning in anger. It's not fine, she said. You think paying bills is love. You think silence is peace. You think I should just adjust and disappear into your routine. That's not true, he said defensively. Then tell me, she challenged. When last did you ask me how I was really feeling? He opened his mouth, then closed it. The silence stretched. Kunle grabbed his bag. I can't deal with this right now. As he reached for the door, Chiamaka said something she didn't even know she was carrying. Sometimes I feel like I married wrongly. Kunle froze. He turned back sharply. That's unfair. So he's feeling lonely beside your husband, she replied, tears finally spilling. Kunle's phone rang again. This time he answered it angrily. Yes, I'm on my way, he snapped. There's an issue at home. The line went quiet on the other end. That issue at home followed him to work. In the meeting, his mind was not present. He missed details. He raised voice at his colleague. He made a decision without proper approval. By afternoon, he was called in by the manager. The warning was clear. One more mistake like that and his position would be reconsidered. Kunle drove home that evening with a heavy chest. For the first time, he wondered if he had been wrong, not as a provider, but as a partner. At home, Chiamaka sat quietly on the couch that evening. The anger had drained out of her, leaving only fear. When Kunle walked in, neither of them spoke immediately. Then he said softly, Today almost cost me my job. Her heart dropped. I didn't mean it, she said. I know, he interrupted, but I didn't realize how much I was carrying home without understanding it. She looked at him properly now, not as the man who disappointed her, but as a man standing in front of her, tired, human, and learning. I didn't mean to hurt you, she said. I just didn't know how to say I was hurting. Kunle sat beside her. I thought I was doing everything right, he admitted. I thought silence meant peace. And I thought love should always sound like reassurance, she replied. Maybe we were both wrong. They talked that night, slowly and honestly. Chiamaka explained that her feelings were real, but that her expectation had no space for difference. Kunle explained that his love was practical, but incomplete without presence. They didn't fix everything at once, but they started balancing. Later that week, Funke called again. Chiamaka, you won't believe what my boyfriend just did to me right now, she began. Men are just wicked. Funke, Chiamaka interrupted. Yes, Funke replied. Please, do not tell me anything concerning men. I have a husband. We may not be perfect, but we are learning. Silence filled the line. Chiamaka, I'm just trying to help. I know, Chiamaka said, but I'm learning something important. Marriage needs protection. Advice can help, but noise destroys. And confusion is so expensive for me right now. Funke did not argue. Why would she? That call ended differently. And in that moment, Chiamaka chose her home over the crowd, her husband over the commentary, and clarity over constant opinion. Marriage stopped being the fantasy she had rehearsed in her mind. Slowly, very slowly, it became something real, something intentional, and something they were building together. Thank you for watching this story. Kindly tell me your thoughts and lessons in the comment section. Do well to like and share with your loved ones.